Fall is just around the corner, and honestly, what better way to welcome it back than with some cozy homemade syrups? Today, I'm making 4 different flavors. 3 of them I picked myself, and the 4th one, you guys actually helped me choose on Instagram. Thank you so much for voting. Stick around until the end to see which one won. First thing first, we need clean containers. I always recommend using glass and sterilize them because that makes a big difference in how long your syrup will last. I will talk more about shelf life later in the video. For this video, I'm using these really cute APT oil dispensers I got from Amazon. I will leave the link in the description box. I love them because not only do they have that pretty gold top, but the glass is nice and thick, so it can handle sterilizing. And bonus, they come with pre-printed stickers, so labeling is super easy. You just stick it on and you're good to go. Now, I only prepared 3 containers at first because I wasn't sure about the 4th flavor yet, but thank you guys for helping me. Your vote made the choice easier. And by the way, if you're not already following me over there, just come say hi. I post daily stories and love chatting with you guys. Let's jump into making the syrups. The first one we're making is Fall Classic, Pumpkin Spice. I've got all my ingredients ready and we'll start with the pumpkin puree. I just want to make sure you're using the pure pumpkin puree and not the pumpkin pie filling. They're not the same thing. I will leave all the details and links in the description. I measure out the water and brown sugar first. Personally, I prefer brown sugar in all my recipes because it gives more depth of flavors. But here is a tip. Brown sugar is wet sugar, which means when you pack it, you're actually using more than the recipe calls for. So usually if it's 1 cup of water, you usually use 1 cup of white sugar. But because we use brown sugar and it's wet, and if you pack it, it's going to be more, and you want to slightly reduce the amount. So I added the sugar to the water and let it dissolve over medium heat. Then in goes the pumpkin puree, 2 cinnamon sticks, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. I turned the heat down to medium-low and let it simmer for about 5 to 6 minutes until the pumpkin puree fully dissolves. Once that's done, I remove it from the heat, stir in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, give it a whisk, and let it cool a little bit before transferring to another container. That helps it cool down faster. It smells so good. The house smells so good. Let's taste it. I like it. It's thick. You can strain it. You can leave it as is. I think I'm gonna strain it, but for now I'm gonna let it cool like this to kind of get all the flavors. I like it. It's very good. I like it. I want to get more, but no, I'm gonna stop. I'll make it after for my coffee. What I like about it is very strong, which is a good thing because you don't need to put lots of syrup to get all the flavors. I love it. It is 10 out of 10. So let this one cool down and let's move to the next one. So the next one that we are making is toffee. So we made the pumpkin spice, toffee, this one, and then I'll be making the hazelnut. And the 4th one, I'm kind of torn between 3 ones. It's caramel, salted caramel, and cinnamon. I just posted on my stories on Instagram and asking people to vote. So I'm gonna wait for the vote. I'm gonna finish all 3 first and then check up their vote and decide which one they vote for, and that will be the 4th one. Next up, toffee syrup. Now, there are a couple ways you can make this. Some people will just throw toffee candy into a simple syrup and let it melt down, then strain it. That works. But I prefer making it from scratch. It's cheaper and it doesn't take much, and honestly, it tastes way better. Plus, you only need a few ingredients: butter, brown sugar, white sugar, water, and a pinch of salt. I'm not really a candy person, but I was surprised by how much I liked this syrup. The butter adds such a rich flavor. My husband was definitely more into the pumpkin spice one, but the toffee was my favorite. So here's what I do. Combine water, both sugars, and the butter, then let it melt together. In the meantime, I want to strain the pumpkin syrup but was not really convinced if I should or should not strain it. It was really a hard choice. Now I'm questioning if I should strain it or not. It's so hard to decide. Well, I did strain it. It's fine. It went through. Everything went through. Well, I decided to not. Okay, it is thinner, but this one is not thick either. So I'm gonna keep it. I'm not straining. I feel like I'm losing a lot. So no. Back to the toffee syrup. When the butter melted, I let it simmer about 4 to 5 minutes, stirring frequently. If you want your syrup to last longer, you can use clarified butter or ghee instead. That not only increases shelf life, but also gives a stronger flavor. When it's ready, I take it off the heat, add a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a little pinch of salt. Then pour it into a glass container to cool down. Alright, moving on to the hazelnut syrup. This one actually is the secret ingredient to French vanilla coffee. You know when you drink a French vanilla coffee and wonder where that creamy flavor comes from? Well, it's the hazelnut syrup. I start by toasting the hazelnut for a few minutes until they smell nice and fragrant. Then I let them cool a bit. If you're using the larger hazelnut with a thicker skin, you can rub them in a kitchen towel to remove the skins. But since mine were the small kind with a thinner skin, I just left them on. The last time I shared this recipe on Instagram, I chopped the hazelnut. This time I used a blender to grind them into a powder, and honestly, that gives the syrup a much stronger flavor. To make it, I use 1 cup of water, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, and 1 cup of hazelnut that I measured before toasting. I let everything simmer gently for about 10 minutes. Now, this is how it's gonna look like because of these hazelnuts, but it tastes so good. The crunchiness tastes so good. I have to strain it to make a syrup, obviously, but if you like the crunch, I would suggest to keep it like this, or probably strain it and keep the crunch separated. Now, after straining, I realized I only got about 1 cup of syrup, so I made another batch using the same hazelnut, the same one that I had already strained, and it still came out delicious. And again, this is because we blended them into powder and that released more flavors. Now for the 4th syrup, the one you guys voted on. It was actually funny because the votes were a perfect 50-50 split between caramel and cinnamon, which were also the two that I couldn't choose from myself. I decided to go with the caramel since it's a bit more technical, and I thought it would be helpful to walk you through the steps. There are 2 ways to make caramel, the dry method and the wet method. The dry method is where you put just sugar in the pan and let it melt and turn golden brown without touching it. It's a bit more professional and requires the sugar to be spread in a thin, even layer. The wet method is easier, especially since I decided to double the recipe and my saucepan isn't that big. So I added the sugar and a little bit of water to the pan over medium heat. Do not touch it, do not stir, just let it cook until it turns to a deep amber color. And if some sugar crystals form on the side of the pan, you can use a wet pastry brush to brush the edges. That helps the sugar dissolve back in and prevent crystallization. Once it reaches the right color, I carefully pour in hot water, and please be careful here. It bubbles up a lot. Then stir gently, add vanilla extract, and here you can add a pinch of salt if you wanted a salted caramel. I did not. After that, just let it cool before bottling. And now let's quickly talk about shelf life. Store-bought syrup are loaded with preservatives, so they can sit at room temperature for months. Homemade syrup are a bit different. It's best to keep them in a fridge where they last about 2 to 3 weeks. If you keep them at room temperature, use them within 5 to 7 days. The only exception is if you make a syrup with a butter, it needs to stay refrigerated. If you use the ghee, on the other hand, then it's fine. You can leave it on the countertop between 5 to 7 days. And that's it for today's video. I hope you found this helpful and maybe even inspiring to try to make your own syrup at home. Don't forget to let me know in the comment if you try it. And thanks again for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.